Howdy everybody, I'm Bolts, Dev, whatever my name is on the channel. I keep forgetting what my name is on the channel, but welcome to a video in which I'm going to be talking or discussing, I'm going to be talking about two game engines, but mostly one game engine specifically in this video. And the game engine that I'm going to be talking about is a brand new game engine from the dev or creator of Cave Engine, and this engine is called Tiniest 2D. Now, this is very new. In fact, it's so new, in fact, that it came out very recently, and people will have about like 30 days before either the engine will be gone for good or the engine will stay and it will no longer be free. Because currently it is a free engine, but once the 30 days is done, it will become paid, I think. But if you make a game with the engine and upload it and then submit it, you'll get license for the full version of the game. So I want to make this video quickly so that I've made it before I can no longer access the engine anymore. So yeah, here we have Tiniest 2D, and the whole gimmick of this game engine is that it's mostly code based, which I have some thoughts about that. But something that's good about this engine is that you don't have to go to like separate programs to like make audio or make your sprites. You can just simply create your variable sprites here with a player sprite, and I made mine green, and all you have to do is just do control click and it goes into this like program inside of the engine where you can make your sprites. Now the only issue I have with this is that, for example, if you wanted to, you know, fill in just this whole thing with just a simple color, it does not seem like you have a fill button. All you have is a color thing, and then you're coloring over it, and that is it. You don't have like a fill thing. So, and now I just made it like that. So it's automatically saved, which is fine, no biggie about that. But it would just be nice if like if one, you could fill in the space with whatever color, and two, be able to actually import your own sprites. Because as far as I'm aware, you can only create your sprites within the program. But what if you wanted to import your sprites? It doesn't seem like you can. I mean, if you can, I am unaware how you do it, and if you can, that would be great. But as far as I'm aware, you cannot seem to be able to do that, which is not ideal. And it's the same with creating music as well. So we've got variable music, which equals to audio. That's how you actually create the program of creating audio inside of this program by calling the audio function here. So now hover over music and then control click on this, brings you over to this, and this was the music that I created. It's pretty terrible, but I wanted to try and do something just to, you know, say, oh, I've made a game with this. Like, it didn't have to be perfect, it didn't have to be like decent or good, it just needed to be something, and I just wanted to, you know, at least try. Unfortunately, just like with the sprite editor, you can't seem to import your own audio, which, once again, is not ideal. But when it comes to the scene, you can create your own scenes, and you can even control click into the scene. And here, so background, scene, layer, sprites. So you can actually toggle the sprites collision and then create your sprite that way. So like right now, the start of the collision is on for the sprite, but if I turn it off, then the sprite won't have collision. Wait, that is it, right? Wait, hang on. Is that what it is? I mean, it doesn't really. Wait, collider's on. Oh wait, hang on. So none, and now static. So then, I don't know. For some reason, it's not showing for me. But I watched the creator's video on this, and it showed for him, but it's not showing for me. But anyway, so it's nice that you've got a scene editor like this, because it would be excruciatingly painful to rely on coding to create a scene. I mean, I know that, you know, that does exist within like code editors, that they happen to have no scene editor, and all of the scene editing is based on the coding, which, I mean, I personally just try to avoid, because I like having to like have a visual scene editor, so that's nice. So this is great to have, but once again, there is limitations, and it's nice to say that, oh, this is like the easiest 2D game engine you could ever have, or like this is the tiny, like this is so small that you don't have to have these things, but it's not necessarily ideal to just have this, because it's limiting. I mean, it's great to, you know, create your own audio, your own sprites, but what if you wanted to have more? It doesn't seem like you can, and I just feel like there's a bit of an issue. And another issue that I have, and this is to do with the code editor itself, is that you cannot highlight any of the text. You cannot highlight, and okay, I'm trying to highlight it, and I'm going to do Control C, and now let's just do Control V. Absolutely nothing. So you cannot seem to highlight any of the text. Now, I get that this is a code editor and not specifically a text editor, but you are using a text editor of some form, and so if you're using a text editor, then the foundation of a text editor is that you're highlighting the text, or you have the ability to highlight the text and copy it or cut the text and put it somewhere else. Now, apart from the things that I don't like about the engine, one thing I do like about the engine is how everything is like very quick and smooth. Like, I really do like that. It's very, very responsive. I like that. And I also like how with the code editor itself, there's auto-completion, because that's why I've been able to get some of these coding stuff done, is because, like, one, I've looked at the API and it's actually pretty simple, so that's really, really nice, and two, there's auto-completion, which is even better, because let's just compare this to the other engine that we're going to be talking about. So this is Cave Engine, and I've already had a look at Cave Engine before in one of my videos, and I mean, I might even tag the creator, because I feel like if I don't tag the creator, he's probably not going to see the video. I mean, he might not even see it anyway, but if the creator is seeing it, then I just wanted to say that I would try and use the Cave Engine, but because there is no auto-completion within the code editor, let's just go over to, for example, damage, edit template, damage. So, okay, let's go over to the mesh, and let's go over, let's do add component and logic Python code. I mean, we could do Python component, but that requires actually making a Python file to name and then, you know, add that. But we're going to go for Python code just for now, just to keep it simple. And so Python code. So let's do start. So here's the Python code. And actually, technically, we could also just do it down here, because that's, you can even see that. So because it's Python, let's just try doing print Now, obviously it goes to green because that means it's an actual function. So then you do brackets and then do that and then hello. Now, of course, this is just going to, say hello to the console. Actually, to be fair, I actually would like to try that. So let's do play game. So console. Yeah, see, hello is right down there. So then let's go back to it. So it's nice that we can have that. But once again, as you saw, there's no form of auto-completion, and sometimes it would be nice if you don't have to do like all of the brackets and all of the quotations. Okay, mostly I am coming from Godot, so I'm used to this stuff like by now. But because people are used to these things, it's great to have them intertwined. Now, I do understand this sentiment. You want people to get used to coding and programming, which I can understand. And I wish there to be like an option for you to toggle on and off, like if you want to have auto completion on or off, for the people who want auto completion and for the people who want to feel like they're professionals with programming by not having auto completion. As someone that is both a programmer but also a visual person, I prefer to have auto completion because I feel like it makes me feel productive when programming, coding, and when I don't have auto completion, it feels like what I'm writing, it shouldn't be there, or I don't know if what I'm writing is correct. So it's great to have auto completion, and it's also great to have color coding, just like this print is color coded in green. And if I try to do, I think it's like cave dot events, I think it's called. Like, that's not color coded, but I'm pretty sure that is something that you can call. It would be nice to have color coding like that. If it's too difficult, fair enough. I don't want to make the creator's job even more difficult than it needs to be, but I'm just saying this from a user point of view. For it to be user friendly, I feel like it needs to have this. And one other thing that I wanted to point out is that from what I've seen on YouTube, the only person that I've seen talk about Cave Engine so much is the creator, is the developer, which is, I mean, it makes sense because it's his engine, it's his studio's engine. It makes sense to be talking about it a lot. But he's like pretty much the only person on YouTube talking about it. I've seen like so many other people talking about other engines, like, Godot and, other niche engines, but he's like the only one talking about Cave Engine, and I don't think that's a good thing necessarily, because you need an outside perspective on your engine to give you feedback. And I think the reason why there's not much outside feedback, especially like within YouTube videos of people experiencing the engine and, giving their feedback vocally, is mostly down to the costing, the pricing of the engine. Now, the last time I looked, I think it was about 60 quid, UK currency, though I can't actually remember if that was the actual pricing of the engine. I could be wrong, but from what I remember, I think I got it for about 60. And the only other engine I can think of that has similar pricing is ClickTeam Fusion. And the only difference between these engines is that Cave Engine is 3D and does seem to be pretty good. I mean, I haven't really properly tested it myself, mostly because of the coding side of it is not to my liking. But ClickTeam Fusion is also very beginner friendly because it's very visual logic based, because you can just with clicked-in Fusion, you can sort of, as far as I remember, because I've not used it in so long, you make like a condition and then you put like ticks to say what can happen from that condition to make actions. So it's kind of like a gdevelop and construct, but it's just visually a little bit different. But what I'm trying to say is that because the Cave engine is trying to be advertised as like very, very, very easy because it's Python, it's all well and good to say that something is easy because it's using Python. But I feel like because the creator is saying, oh, it's so easy, it's like, of course you're saying it's easy because one, you made it, and two, you've been programming it with Python. So of course you're going to say it's easy, but for other people, it might differ. And that's why I feel like when it comes to the Tiniest 2D game engine, that coding was definitely easier to get with because it does seem simple, and he says that it's inspired by Lua and Python. And I've never actually used Lua myself, but I've used GDScript, and I felt like I was programming with GDScript in Tiniest 2D game engine, which was really, really nice because I'm actually used to using GDScript, so that's definitely nice. And once again, Tiniest 2D game engine, auto-completion. So all of this to say, I feel like there needs to be more feedback for the engine to, get better. And unfortunately, you're going up against engines like Unity, Godot, even gdevelop. All of these engines are free to, well, I mean, gdevelop, there is a subscription involved, but it's free to just, download and use to like prototype and test. Now, if you want to like do more advanced stuff with it, I think you do need to subscribe to it, unfortunately, but that's how they make their money. And with Unity, you make a certain amount and you have to pay them like a certain amount. But with Godot, it's completely free to use. So this engine, this literal engine is going up against Godot currently. Like, whilst this engine is being advertised as the smallest and easiest Python game engine, there's only you can only take that so far, I guess. Because yes, Python is pretty easy to learn, but it's the relationship between the game engine you're using and the scripting language, which is why GDScript was actually pretty easy to learn, because not only do you have so many tutorials now, you've even got really, really good documentation. And I'm not saying that this game engine doesn't have documentation, it does. It's just a little bit behind. Now, this isn't to say that I'm like dunking or trying my best to be negative about the game engine. I'm not trying to be doing that. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be as constructive as possible about my feedback from my experience of using other game engines and, using this game engine, and like what this kind of offers in comparison to other game engines. Now, once again, I would definitely try and use this and see where I get with this. Just either fully implement the visual scripting that the developer has already mentioned that he's implementing into the game engine. So I look forward to using that and how that goes. But also, I'm definitely looking forward to the auto-completion of this. And I've already asked him about the auto-completion, and he says that it's planned. So not sure when that's going to be fully out, but I do look forward to that. But yeah, I also tried to make a video talking about this, but I scrapped it because I made the video before talking to the developer about it, and then I felt silly about the video, so I thought I'd better scrap it. So that's all I kind of wanted to talk about in this video. So actually wait, there is another thing that I wanted to talk about. So let's just go ahead and play the game. And we're in first person, so that's great. So then if we go over to, let's say, this thing, and we go over to it, our health goes down. So obviously there has to be some sort of like collision or like trigger within the object, right? So let's just go over to the object, and I mean, it's got to transform. It's got, well, it looks like it has properties, but I'm not entirely sure. So then, okay, so damage, template, so damage. Okay, so we have this. I have not actually seen this, so it's a bit new to me. So this is, I'm guessing this is editing the template, right? Build from by hierarchy. Active entity, that damage, build from selected entity. Edit template. Okay, so we're editing the template now. So transform. So transform yet again. Tags. Mesh. Wait, so mesh start. Oh, so yeah, okay, that's what I wrote. Okay, so optimizations. So, I mean, it doesn't seem like mesh. Okay, mesh based collision. Okie dokie. Triangle mesh. Python code. Oh, so that's the okay. Right. I need to get rid of that because that's the thing that I made. But it just doesn't seem like it has any sort of like trigger or collision script. So then I was thinking maybe the code is in the player, because you know the player is the one that's receiving all of this. So let's go to the player and player toolkit. I think it's in this one. So damage cooldown, reset. Okay, so let's open it up. Okay, and then it opens like this, which is fine. And I think it is over here. So to get the collisions, I assume this is my health bar. Get child, health bar, get child bar, life bar. I assume that all of the coding to get the collisions, to get the triggers, to take away my health is in here, right? Which inherently isn't a bad thing. Once again, I just would prefer to have. I mean, maybe this is how it was set up here, and that you can get a trigger collision. But once again, how do you get trigger collisions? How do you get that? That's where I'm a bit like stumped. Okay, so I just made a mesh because I wanted to test something out, and so it has a static body, and I'm guessing Ghost makes it so that you go through the object, right? Oh wait, oh yep, I'm immediately through the object anyway. So that is something that can happen. So how would you go about linking that up to like a script and, you know, make an action based on this triggering event? Like, how would you go about doing that? If that can, if there's a way to like clearly see this happening and make this happen, that would be great. But other than that, just, you know, more feedback for you. Anyway, I'm going to end off the video before the video gets even longer than it needs to be. So thank you so much for watching, and if the developer creator is watching this video, then I hope that my feedback has been constructive in some way, shape, or form. Because once again, I don't want to be negative about the engine, because like obviously there is like, you know, so much love put into it, and you know, people can make games with it. It's just for some people it can be difficult to use. So this has been my feedback. Now I'm not expecting all of my feedback to be, you know, fully realized, but it's just, you know, something to consider anyway. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, everybody.